I'm the only reason my family is alive today, and it's because I was 40 minutes late to dinner. It was a Sunday in January. I'd driven to my parents' house with my window cracked because my defroster was acting up. I walked in expecting the usual chaos. Mom cooking, dad yelling at football, my 16-year-old brother glued to his phone. Instead, the house was silent. Mom was at the stove, stirring a pot that had already boiled dry. Dad was in his recliner, asleep at 6 p.m. with the TV off. My brother Caleb was face down on the couch. "Mom, the pot's burning." She looked at me like I was speaking another language, then she smiled. "Emily, when did you get here?" I'd texted her from the driveway. She'd replied, "Come in." I turned the burner off myself. "You okay? You look flushed." "Just a headache, sweetheart. We've all got one. Must be a bug going around." All of them, at the same time. Dinner was wrong from the first minute. Dad kept losing his sentences halfway through. Mom asked me how work was going 3 times. Caleb didn't touch his food, said he was too dizzy, then laughed like it was funny. Their faces were all the same shade of flushed pink, like they'd been sitting out in the sun. "Guys, something's wrong. You're all acting weird." Dad's face hardened. "Don't start, Emily. We're tired. People are allowed to be tired." Tired doesn't make you forget a conversation from 2 minutes ago. "Enough. Sit down and eat." And here's the part that scares me most. I almost listened. I almost decided I was being dramatic because everyone else was so calm. When 4 people tell you everything is fine, you start doubting your own eyes. Then Caleb stood up to get water and grabbed the wall like the floor had tilted. Nobody reacted. Mom just kept eating. Dad changed the subject to the weather in the same slow, careful voice, like each word cost him something. Then my own head started pounding, a dull pressure building behind my eyes. I'd been inside for 20 minutes. 20 minutes. They'd been home all day. Something from a work safety training clawed its way up through my memory. Headache, confusion, dizziness, drowsiness, and the victims never notice because it dulls the brain first. Carbon monoxide. I ran to the hallway where the detector had always been mounted. There was a clean rectangle on the wall where it used to be. I found it in the junk drawer. No batteries. "Mom, where are the batteries for this?" She waved her fork, unbothered. "Oh, that thing wouldn't stop chirping. Your father took them out weeks ago. It was driving us crazy." "It was warning you." I wanted to scream. "For weeks. Everybody outside, now." Dad refused. Actually refused. Told me I was overreacting, that it was freezing out, that I'd been watching too much news. I didn't argue. I grabbed Caleb, who could barely stand, and hauled him through the front door. Mom followed because I was crying, not because she believed me. Dad only came out to yell at me from the porch, and then his knees buckled on the top step. I caught maybe half his weight. We went down onto the frozen lawn together while I dialed 911. My hands were shaking so hard I misdialed twice. The fire department's meter started shrieking before they were fully through the door. The furnace had a cracked heat exchanger. It had been leaking carbon monoxide into the house for who knows how long, and that day it had gotten dramatically worse. The readings, one firefighter told me, were the kind they usually find afterward. Dad spent the night in the hospital on oxygen. The ER doctor was blunt with me. Another hour or 2 asleep in that house, and you'd have walked into a very different scene. My family had been slowly poisoned in their own home, and the gas had stolen the one thing they needed to save themselves: the ability to realize something was wrong. The only reason I could see it was that I'd just come in from the cold with fresh air in my lungs. 40 minutes late, window cracked. That's it. That's the whole miracle. Dad apologized on the drive home from the hospital. He's not a man who apologizes. He just stared out the windshield and said, "You stood on that lawn in January because we were too stupid to stand there ourselves. There's a detector in every room of that house now. Dad tests them on the 1st of every month, because that chirp he silenced, that was the sound of the alarm begging for weeks to save their lives."